roadie. Holy cow. They go 7-2 and what I thought had to be a must-win series road trip. Went to Cleveland, beat the Guardians, went to Washington, swept the rebuilding Nationals, went into Baltimore and punched the Orioles in first place in the mouth. They go 7-2. They got it done with dominant starting pitching. Of course, there was the Dylan Cease no-hitter right in the midst of all that. They got it done with timely hitting. Xander Bogaerts comes off the disabled list, had a .212 batting average when he went on. He's now hitting .272. He hit almost 500 since coming off the DL, so that was really impressive. I think the Padres showed that first place Cleveland, first place Baltimore are not complete baseball teams. Cleveland doesn't have a lot of power hitting around. They're one big bat. Baltimore played really sloppy defense. Baltimore left a lot of guys on base. Baltimore looks a little threadbare in the pitching staff. So the Padres hit those guys at the absolute right time. I thought both Cleveland and Baltimore really looked like tired baseball teams in the series they played against the Friars. So the Padres come home. They take a deep breath. What's that ringing in your ears right now? If I close my eyes, I hear ringing.
Tinnitus.
Beat L.A. Beat L.A.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Padres, Dodgers, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're going to see the aces of the staffs. I mean, Glasnow is going to start. Dylan Cease is going to start in one of the games in this series. So this is going to be fun. And here's the bigger story. When they get through Wednesday night, the next 15 are against the Rockies, the Marlins, and the Pirates. 15 in a row against the bulk of the bottom feeders in baseball. I mean, if they're going to force their way into first place in a pennant race, now's the time to do it. So we'll see if they can beat the Dodgers Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they play 15 against the dregs in the National League. Going to be fascinating. John, give me a quick response what you saw on the road trip. And do you subscribe that my ears are ringing or your ears ring? Go ahead.
Yeah, my ears are ringing already. Yeah, what a great road trip. 2 out of 3 Cleveland. They swept the Nationals, got the no-hitter, 2 out of 3 in Baltimore. And we all give crap to Mike Schilt and how forthcoming and honest is he really in those press conferences. But he used to always say, hey, I love my guys. They've got fight. They never give up. And we saw that on Sunday, the way they clawed back, so you've got to be encouraged here about how they're playing. But I'll tell you what, facing the Rockies scares me. I mean, that's when they usually screw it up. That's when they usually lose 3 out of 4, and it drives us mad.
So there we are. The schedule is right there in front of them. When I saw that, I said, holy cow, 15 straight. Miami, Colorado, Pittsburgh, and then they go on the road and play the same guys. Great opportunity to go after first place. Baseball trade deadline is upon us. The Padres make the first deal. I like the deal, but I don't like the deal. And I know there's counseling for my bipolar attributes here. They get Jason Adams, 32-year-old relief pitcher who's reinvented himself in Tampa Bay, had bounced around and actually had been with the Padres for a brief period of time, found himself, got healthy, developed extra pitches. But in the process, they give up the number 1 draft pick from a year and a half ago, Dylan Lesko, pitcher. They give up Homer Bush, 2nd-round draft pick last year. They give up another J.D. Gonzalez, a young developing catcher. Now, granted, all these guys are in the lower minors. The problem I have is this is typical A.J. Preller. He paid nearly $5 million above signing bonus money to get Dylan Lesko coming out of high school, coming off elbow surgery.
Mm-hmm.
He paid, I want to say, almost $1 million to get Homer Bush, 2nd-round draft pick. Rather than have the kid go to college, they signed him. And then they signed J.D. Gonzalez to, I want to say, an $800,000 package. So in essence, he spent $6 million for those 3 hot prospects at the top of the draft boards 2 years in a row, and he bailed on them a year and a half into their careers. He did that to get a 32-year-old pitcher who's had 2 decent years in Tampa Bay. It's just typical the way he does his business. Overpays, get him, trade him, takes on age. They needed relief pitching. So we'll see what Jason Adams is going to be like in San Diego. I tend to think he's pretty competitive, and he'll be a good setup guy with all the other guys that they've kind of latched onto now to get him to Robert Suarez.
Let me just comment on that trade for a minute.
All right.
When I heard the name, I went, "Who? Who is this guy?" And yeah, he's had better than decent seasons. He's been pitching with like a 2.5 ERA,
Right.
high leverage, and that's exactly what they need. Now, yeah, they gave up Lesko and they gave the big bonus for Lesko, but he wasn't performing very well.
He's a kid.
But he's he's still coming off the surgery. I like how AJ is going for it, and he's getting pieces we need and trying to capitalize on this window. And you're the one that always says he's got boots on the ground, so he can go and just restock and reload. I mean, so he's just moving currency around. I love kind of the swashbuckling AJ Preller. And you know what? He's not done. He's going to get at least a starter, I bet you, before the deadline.
He has now traded 9 prospects this year, 9 of the top 12 players in the farm system. He has traded to go get Dylan Cease, to go get Luis Ariz, and now to get Jason Adam. But
well, look at those guys. You got a no-hitter, you got an all-star. I mean, that's good return on investment.
I guess part of me says he knows what he needs on the roster, so he overpays to get what he needs to fill the hole on the roster. Better win. Better be in the playoffs this year or next year, because there is no future. There is no Padre future at all. Because a year from now, a year and a half from now, when we're doing this podcast, he'll have a roster on the other side of 34 and 35-year-olds with long-term contracts and no farm system to replace anybody.
Oh, he'll keep reloading, Lee.
Okay, if you say so. I want to ask you a pointed question. Yu Darvish, he talks to Darvish every second or third day back in Japan. They discuss when he might return, if he will return. He says Darvish will tell him when he's ready to come back to baseball, if he wants to come back to baseball. I guess the burning question I have, do the Padres owe it to the fans and to the media to explain what has happened to Darvish, or is it a personal family matter? And I bring that up because it is a personal family off-the-field matter, but it's costing the team $7 million in salary, and it's costing the team a frontline pitcher in the most important part of the season as they try to fight to get into a pennant race. So that's a big issue. Or is it Yu Darvish's story to tell? Joe Musgrove is going to throw his sim game in Arizona on Tuesday. He's going to throw 2 innings against Seattle minor leaguers in their summer league camp. He'll throw 20 or 30 pitches, rest for 8 to 10 minutes, come back and try to throw a second inning to gauge where he is. He's going to have to make rehab starts if he gets through this next one. So your response to Darvish, how it should be handled, is it being handled correctly? What do they owe the fans? What do they owe us, the media? And your thoughts on Musgrove?
The Padres don't owe an explanation for Yu Darvish, not any explanation. It's just a Yu Darvish thing. It's up to Yu Darvish to disclose that sort of matter. So I think the Padres are handling this like a first-class operation. This is terrific, the way they're managing it. And, oh, by the way, Darvish isn't getting paid, which opens up a little bit of a gap, that they can use during this trade deadline situation. Heart goes out to the guy. There's rumors, innuendo about what's going on, but is it going to change my opinion of the team if I find out it's a family issue, a medical issue, something else? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Musgrove, I'm encouraged by. I mean, if he can come back sometime in August, wow. I mean, Cease, Musgrove, Waldron, King, that's looking pretty good.
Okay. So we go from all things